Welcome or welcome back to In Divine Time Tarot. I am Myra, and today we are going to be discussing the planet Pluto transiting through the sign of Aquarius. I am so excited about this. I've been waiting to talk about this for so long, and we're going to be discussing how this energy is going to impact you, me, the entire collective, our finances, the government, the economy, literally everything. And this planet is going to be in Aquarius until 2044. So grab a snack, grab some water, and stay tuned so that you can learn what you need to do to work with this energy. Okay, beautiful people. So at the beginning of every astrology video, I always say I will try my hardest not to use a bunch of jargon so that people know what the hell I'm talking about. Especially if you're new to astrology, it can be confusing. So let's first talk about what does it mean to have Pluto transiting through the sign of Aquarius. So currently Pluto is at 1 degrees. When a planet transits through a house, it goes from 0 to 29 or 30 degrees. Right? And so as it moves through the house it's going through, the degrees increases. So right now we're only at 1 degree. What that means is that we're at the very beginning stages of seeing the signals of this new world, this new world order, this new humanitarian centered world that we're coming into. Pluto is a planet that is all about destruction, but it's all about rebirth as well. So Pluto will come into a house and it will say, okay, this isn't working here. That isn't working here. These people's needs are not being met here. So let's knock everything down so that we can build something that works better. Now, when you have that sitting in the sign of Aquarius, which is all about innovation, freedom, equality, humanitarianism, you are bound to come in and get rid of all of these governmental systems, all of these healthcare systems, all of these education systems, all of these systems that are not working for us, that are not for our highest and greatest good, that don't care about us, that are just greedy, that just want to control us, that just want to take all of our money. And Pluto is coming in and saying, absolutely not. It's time for a revolution. Let's give the power back to the people so that they can build a better world. We're seeing this in our political and economic structures. We're going to be seeing this in people losing trust in the government. We're going to be seeing this in a rise of decentralized power because people are deciding to take their power back. We're going to be seeing this in natural responses to imbalance, right? Meaning like all of these floods and wildfires and all of these things that are happening in nature right now because it's imbalanced. We are going to be seeing people starting to crave authenticity, people starting to crave purpose in their life, people not wanting to consume as much and wanting to create more. This is going to be the energy of this transit until 2044, y'all. So we got a lot of work to do. Right now, we are seeing so much chaos in the world. And it's not just here in the United States where I'm located at. It's literally everywhere in the world. Every time I turn on the TV, every time I get online, however you consume your media, it seems like every day it's freaking breaking news. Like we cannot catch a breath. We cannot breathe. And that is because we are literally in the midst of an intense power structure. We are seeing the collapse of the old system, the collapse of the old world, and we're stuck in the middle, right? We're not quite there yet to this new world where there's cooperation, where there's collaboration. Not quite there yet with people taking back the power from these governments, from these systems that pretty much have had their freaking foot on our necks, right? And so with Aquarius is representing that innovation, that freedom, that equality, that technology, that collective healing that we all need, that we're all yearning for, while the shadow side of Pluto, which is representative of, let's say, people that are in power that no longer need to hold that space, they are very much giving the energy of ultra surveillance. They're giving chaos. They're giving control. They're giving dehumanization. It is a power struggle that we're seeing every day. People are feeling helpless, thinking that we're losing the battle, and we're not. The people are coming together and they are fighting, and this is the higher version of what we see happening here on Earth. Before we dive really deeply into this video, I'm going to be mentioning some important aspects that we need to look out for and that we need to know. So first of all, like I said, Pluto is only in 1 degree of Aquarius. So we're still very early in the game, but we can definitely feel the impacts of Pluto transiting through this sign. And it, again, will be in here until 2044. So we are going to feel it for a while. We also have other planets that are intermingling and creating their own energy as well. For example, we have the sign of Uranus that is retrograde in Gemini. Now, this means that we should be expecting some chaos, so to speak, in the tech industry, right? Specifically around AI and AI ethics. We'll be able to see this around our data for sure, and who controls our data, how it's stored, all of these things. We'll see tech rebellions happening, and we can already see these things happening right now in our everyday life when we think about all of these major big tech companies that are trying to be ultra surveilling us, ultra censoring us, all of these things. And we'll also see a volatility in our communication networks. So if you have ever watched any type of news or anything like that, you'll see the different governments around the world are consistently talking about, oh, if the power grid went off, oh, the power grid is old. It's all about the breakdown of the digital infrastructure. And we can see that happening right now with Uranus being retrograde, transiting through the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, which is all about communication. You get what I'm saying? Pluto is also sextiling with Neptune in the sign of Aries. So what this means is that we can expect to see a blend of spirituality, but mix it with technology, mix it with technological transcendence. So think about like sci-fi, something like that. Think about when people, for example, call ChatGPT their friend. I'm not judging, I'm not saying anything about that. If ChatGPT is your friend, ChatGPT is your friend. But we can expect to see conversations around AI and consciousness. Is AI conscious? Could it be conscious? Should it have rights? We'll see more conversations about energetic frequencies in mainstream science. We'll see more conversations about neurology and neuroplasticity and quantum spirituality. This is a big thing that is going to be happening that we can see with this transit that is occurring right now. Also, Pluto is trining with Mars and Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. So what does this mean? This means empowered speech. We can see this with all of the freaking protests that are happening right now. People are using their voice. People are using their power. We also see this with the rise of whistleblowers. Now, if you don't know anything about that, how many like pilots and stuff have we seen come out and testify that they have seen pretty much like alien spaceships flying around, And then there's this collective energy of wanting to confront uncomfortable truths. So like deep secrets that are coming out, things that have been suppressed, things that have caused psychological torture to people. And in some cases, people have, decided to end their time here on Earth because of that. We are going to start to see all of these secrets come to light. They are no longer going to be able to be hidden. Lastly, we have Saturn, which is retrograde right now, and it is transiting through the sign of dreamy Pisces, right? So what does this mean? This means that people are no longer buying the illusion. They are losing faith in their government. They're losing faith in institutions that were supposed to protect them that didn't. They're even losing faith in faith-based systems. So religious institutions that they want to put their faith in, that they want to put their trust in, they're having a problem, or they're no longer believing what is coming out of these places because these institutions, because these government, because these faith-based system organizations are not taking accountability for the things that they are doing to harm the communities that they're supposed to be helping. Earlier today on TikTok, someone asked me if Pluto was still in the sign of Capricorn. And I told them, no, it has transited into the sign of Aquarius. But I wanted to just provide a little bit of clarity on that, because Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn for years, actually. And even though it did transit into Aquarius twice during 2023 to 2024, it mostly spent most of its time in Capricorn, and it was also in retrograde. So while it was in retrograde, it was pretty much dismantling those old systems of power that are no longer working for us. And we can see that when it made those small transits into Aquarius, because when it did, there were significant events that had occurred. And I'll talk about that later in the video. Pluto may be a slow-moving planet, but it's one of those types of planets that when it moves into a sign, especially a sign like Aquarius, we can expect to see changes that will literally last for generations. And the last time it had spent a significant amount of time in the sign of Aquarius was back during revolutionary times. So back between the years of 1778 and 1798. Now, if you follow me on any social media platforms, including YouTube, which I hope you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, because what are you doing? I talked about the year 1798. I talked about the download that I had where I compared what is going on now to the year 1798. I will put a link or something in the description so you can go back and watch that video. It's definitely worth a watch because the comparisons are wild. So if we had to compare 1778 through 1798 with what we are experiencing right now, back then, people were overthrowing their government. They were challenging authority. They were demanding their freedom. They were demanding their rights, similar to what we are doing right now. We're not like them in terms of we're not fighting monarchies, right? But we are fighting wannabe monarchies. We are fighting systems that have had power for years and have hoarded it, and governments that are corrupt, corporations that are corrupt, media that are liars. Pluto is back and it's like, girl, it's time to clean house. So just as an honorable mention, I want to talk about the two times that Pluto kind of like tiptoed into Aquarius before it retrograded and went back into Capricorn. So the first time happened in 2023 when it was the G20 summit, and China had actually brought it up that, hey guys, maybe we should deal with this global debt. Maybe we should get together, all these super world powers, and think about dealing with the root of the issue, the crisis. What happened? Nothing. And what is happening right now? We have countries that are in economic collapse. When we think about France, when we think about the United States, all because they didn't deal with their debt. All because there is an imbalance of power. There is a large wealth gap between the have and the have-nots. And that was very significant because it showed the imbalance and it showed who actually is controlling the powers. And then Pluto was just like, listen, girl, I showed y'all. Let me go on back to Capricorn so I can continue to knock down these systems. And when y'all ready, you know where I'm at. In 2024, when Pluto had tiptoed back on into Aquarius, another significant event had occurred. And it happened in the country of is fake. If y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, right? So their Supreme Court had basically decided to do some controversial judicial reforms, and the people were not having it. And until this day, that is one of the biggest protests of this country was because of that. And it happened all when Pluto decided to tiptoe into the sign of Aquarius just for a hot minute. Those themes continue on throughout 2023, 2024, all the way up until now, where people are fighting back. The citizens are not taking it laying down, and they are not about this authoritarian government. They want transparency. They're demanding transparency. They want to be treated equally, fairly, and have equity in the countries that they live in. So now that we've kind of covered what we can expect collectively from Pluto transiting through the sign of Aquarius, and the types of generational changes that it causes when it transits through the sign of Aquarius, let's talk about how it impacts us on an individual level based on our sign, and more specifically, based on what house it's transiting through. For example, my 7th house is where Aquarius is for me. So for someone else, Aquarius may be in their 1st house or their 2nd house or their 3rd house. For everyone, it's different. So you would have to look at your natal chart to be able to tell where Aquarius is. So here's what this transit means for each sign. If you are an earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, this is what this transit means for you. If you are an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, this is what this transit is for you. If you are a water sign, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, this is what this transit is for you. If you are a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, this is what this transit means for you. So now that you know how it's going to impact your sign, we need to find out what area of our life it's going to impact. And if you want to dive deeper into that, you need to pull your natal chart so that you're able to see what house Aquarius is in. As I mentioned earlier, Aquarius is in my 7th house, but for you, it could be in your 5th house, your 1st house, 3rd house, whatever. And the only way to tell that is by pulling your natal chart. If you don't know how to do that or don't want to do that, definitely feel free to click the link in my bio or description, wherever you're watching this from, and book a reading with me. I will definitely be able to tell you, 1, what house is impacting, 2, how to work with the energy, and 3, what to watch out for, right? Because it's better to work with this energy than to work against it. And in order to know that, we have to be able to look at the chart. Now, if you are able to successfully pull your chart and you know what you're doing, you're able to see what house Aquarius in, I want you to take a look at what Pluto means based on the house that it is in. Okay, guys, so as we bring this video to a close, right? Here are some pointers as to how to work with this energy. First off, question everything, right? We are living in an age right now where disinformation is rampant and people just want you to believe stuff just to believe it. Question everything, even the spiritual ones. Now is the time more than ever to build and join in community and align yourself with people that share the same values that you share. Practice digital discernment, meaning you don't have to share every single bit online. Some things are meant to be kept private, so protect your mind and protect your peace and watch what you're posting online, especially being that we are living in this highly surveillance state right now. Reconnect with authentic communities. That means not just online. That means going out, meeting actual people, and building community with real in-life people that you can tap, touch, talk to, hug, laugh, cry with, right? And also focus on collective healing instead of individual escapism, right? Become comfortable with being vulnerable with other people who you share an emotional connection with. And whether we like it or not, technology is here to stay, right? There is no way to get away from it. It is literally everywhere. The key is to remember that it is a tool and to always have a balanced approach when using it, and use it responsibly and also use it ethically for the growth of mankind. So let's talk about my predictions for the rest of 2025. I did this before about a few weeks ago, and they still have not changed that much at all, especially with Pluto squaring off with Uranus. We can expect to see more protests, but we can also expect to see more innovation when it comes to technology and people using technology as a form of resistance. We're also going to see people doing protests in very creative ways. Think about that person who was in that frog costume that did that was a part of the protest and when ICE was there, right? So we're going to see more things like that happening. We're going to see people using art as a form of resistance instance, like that statue where it was like Netanyahu with Donald Trump, and they were like skipping and holding hands or something like that. So we're going to see more things like that. We're also going to see more breakthroughs of more people starting to talk about accountability and ethics around AI and how it's being used, as well as a increase in division when we're thinking about what's authentic and what's artificial, like how some of these companies are trying to use like AI singers or AI entertainers, and then like there's this battle between like the real R&B singers, so to speak, the real artists, versus like the AI generated ones that are being signed by like agencies for millions of dollars. Also, we're going to continue to see the breakdown of traditional financial structures, and we're going to see more of a move towards a digital currency. We're going to see more of a move towards resource scarcity to the point where people are going to start creating communities based off of bartering systems, right? Because people may not be working. There will be a mass social and spiritual awakening where people are leaving their jobs, some voluntarily, some involuntarily. Some people are realizing that corporate jobs aren't for them, government jobs aren't for them, that maybe the religion that they had their whole lives is not for them. And so people are slowly but surely deviating away from these things that they once held dear to them. Pluto is going to take us for a wild ride. I cannot sugarcoat that, but it will be well worth it because it is putting the power back into the hands of people. It is putting humanity first and not profit first. It is putting people and the things that they need, food, healthcare, education, access to resources, all of those things are being put at the forefront, while these old systems that were used to hold us down, to starve us, to relegate us, to keep us divided, they're all crumbling and going away. It's just right now we are in the midst of it, and it is chaotic as hell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative and you're able to use this information. Please like, save, subscribe, share, I don't know, whatever, to help my little channel grow, to help my little social media grow. And thank you so much. Bye. See you on the next one.